Corporate key function outsourcing. The evolution and strategic imperatives of modern outsourcing. The outsourcing landscape has shifted from pure globalization to localized hybrid models, balancing cost efficiency with operational resilience while retaining core advantages like specialized expertise and elastic scalability. Organizations must now strategically manage multifaceted risks, such as supplier instability, knowledge attrition, and cross-border workforce complexities, to unlock outsourcing's full potential. This video aims to deliver a risk-aware methodology for structuring outsourcing partnerships, equipping enterprises with actionable insights to optimize vendor selection, contract design, and transition governance across functional domains. Disclaimer statement. This video provides general informational content only and should not be interpreted as professional, legal, financial, or advisory guidance for outsourcing decisions. Given the complexity of outsourcing considerations across industries and jurisdictions, viewers must seek qualified experts to assess their specific operational and regulatory requirements. Neither the content creators nor distributors accept responsibility for decisions made based on this material. Part 1. Outsourcing Strategy Overview. Outsourcing involves contracting external suppliers to manage non-core business functions, such as IT, accounting, or manufacturing. This enables companies to reduce costs, access specialized expertise, and enhance operational efficiency while focusing on core competencies, with implementation scope ranging from task-specific to department-wide based on organizational risk appetite. Outsourcing risk landscape and mitigation. Despite its advantages, outsourcing introduces risks including supplier reliability issues, operational continuity threats, and reputational exposure, necessitating proactive mitigation frameworks during the planning phase. Supplier volatility risk. Suppliers may experience financial distress, ownership changes, or technological obsolescence, for example, AI disruption, necessitating thorough due diligence on their market position and contractual termination rights for unfavorable changes. Risk perception bias. The prevalent bandwagon effect in outsourcing, where successes are amplified and failures underreported, requires decision-makers to validate supplier claims through independent case studies, expert consultation, and disciplined trend resistance evaluation. Social responsibility risks. Outsourcing may generate political and community opposition when impacting local employment, requiring suppliers to guarantee transitional employment periods and thorough regional economic impact assessments, particularly in vulnerable markets. Critical service continuity risks. Supplier failure in essential services threatens operational viability, mandating rigorous vendor selection, real-time performance tracking, and fallback options like secondary suppliers or retained internal capabilities. Data security and confidentiality risks. Outsourcing HR, accounting, or engineering functions increases exposure to sensitive data breaches, necessitating stringent contractual safeguards, regular compliance audits, and role-based access controls to mitigate insider threats. Legal accountability risks. Companies retain full liability for outsourced client services, for example, tax filings, customer support, requiring enforceable quality standards, retained audit rights, and indemnification clauses to transfer risk for third-party failures. Risk-tiered outsourcing strategy. Companies should adopt a phased outsourcing approach, categorizing functions by risk level. Low risks have non-core or transferable characteristics. Medium risk have the characteristics of operational or transition sensitive. High risk are strategic related, and they are mission critical, and incrementally expanding in scope as competency develops. Risk-benefit optimization. Effective outsourcing requires balancing potential efficiencies against supplier, operational, reputational, and compliance risks through stringent vendor selection, robust contractual protections, and controlled rollout methodologies. 1.3 Outsourcing Governance Framework. Outsourcing approval authority should align with functional criticality. Routine services, for example, janitorial, administrative, may be delegated to operational managers, while strategic functions, such as IT, manufacturing, demand C-suite oversight due to operational, workforce, and financial restructuring implications. Core function outsourcing or large-scale workforce transitions require board-level review, given their potential to transform business models and risk profiles fundamentally. Any high-impact outsourcing initiative initiated at lower management levels must undergo mandatory executive escalation to ensure appropriate governance. Part 2. Strategic Outsourcing Execution Framework. When outsourcing critical functions, companies must evaluate both standard operational needs and specialized service requirements to ensure the solution fits their overall goals. This balanced approach helps meet business-wide priorities while handling the function's unique challenges. Below are key factors leaders should review during planning. Evaluating potential outsourcing suppliers. Structured supplier selection process. The supplier selection process starts with a detailed RFP that outlines business needs, operational data, and performance expectations to ensure accurate proposals. Key elements include weighted selection criteria, clear commercial terms, and upfront transition requirements to avoid hidden costs. Best practices recommend limiting bids to 5 to 6 pre-qualified suppliers and maintaining transparency throughout the process. Comprehensive bid evaluation framework. A thorough bid evaluation should assess service quality, cultural fit, reputation, technical skills, and financial stability, not just pricing. 4 top candidates. Conduct in-depth reference checks examining their transition success, service reliability, staff management, and technical expertise. This disciplined approach helps select suppliers that deliver both value and long-term partnership potential. Other key considerations. When evaluating suppliers, consider a multi-vendor approach with a lead provider if no single supplier meets all needs, while ensuring proper knowledge transfer timelines and governance controls. This structured selection process helps identify partners that align operationally and strategically, reducing transition risks and fostering sustainable collaboration. Most importantly, prioritize overall value, balancing quality, expertise, and costs, rather than simply choosing the lowest bidder. Business Function Transition Framework. The supplier transition phase requires a structured approach, particularly for technical functions, beginning with appointing a qualified functional coordinator to lead contract finalization and transition oversight. Critical steps include developing a comprehensive employee competency database to facilitate workforce handover and implementing confidentiality protocols before operational knowledge transfer. This standardized methodology ensures business continuity while protecting organizational interests during the outsourcing transition. Knowledge transfer and implementation approach. Suppliers must thoroughly understand operations through staff interviews, process observations, documentation review, and asset audit to ensure a smooth transition. The handoff should follow a phased approach, starting with core services, validating each step before proceeding, and requiring formal approvals at each milestone. This structured process minimizes disruption while ensuring complete operational transfer. Transition Management Framework. Effective workforce transitions require coordinated communications, streamlined legal or benefits processing, and cultural continuity, while post-transition activities focus on asset rationalization, space optimization, and comprehensive documentation retention. Critical success factors include allowing adequate transition timelines, for example, 6 to 12 months for IT function outsourcing, maintaining parallel operations during cutover, and proactively managing organizational change while securing proper legal protections. This end-to-end methodology ensures operational continuity, safeguards stakeholder interests, and preserves institutional knowledge throughout the outsourcing lifecycle. Ongoing supplier relationship management. After transitioning a function, establish regular performance reviews with the supplier, including periodic operational meetings and annual executive-level strategic discussions, to address issues proactively. Common challenges include service quality gaps, unexpected cost increases, and staffing competency issues, which can strain the partnership if not managed properly. Maintaining the structured governance approach helps align expectations, resolve conflicts, and ensure the outsourcing arrangement delivers intended value. Outsourcing performance measurement. Effective monitoring requires both operational benchmarks and financial KPIs, with baseline data collected pre-transition and independent tracking systems to ensure objective evaluation. Suppliers should be incentivized only for measurable business improvements, like cost savings or quality gains, rather than simply meeting service levels. 4 industry-specific KPI frameworks. Additional resources are available through our advisory services. Part 3. Contractual issues. Contract development best practices. Companies should implement structured contract review processes involving cross-functional teams and engage specialized outsourcing lawyers, particularly when lacking experience, to avoid supplier bias terms. Contracts must clearly define services and responsibilities while maintaining adaptability, with drafting initiated by the company's legal team rather than relying on supplier proposals. Final sign-off should only occur after thorough supplier due diligence to prevent unfavorable commitments or pricing surprises. General clauses. All outsourcing contracts should address critical areas like dispute resolution timing, data protection, audit rights, and liability limits, with special attention to confidentiality for sensitive functions and disaster recovery for continuity. Supplier management-related clauses. The supplier management clauses must clearly define performance standards, SLAs, balance penalties for non-compliance, and subcontractor approval processes to maintain accountability. These provisions create a fair framework that protects both parties while ensuring service quality and operational resilience. Pricing-related clauses. Outsourcing contracts should include pricing safeguards like inflation caps, COLA adjustments, comprehensive service definitions to prevent hidden fees, and volume-based discounts for scalable operations. Termination clauses. The termination clauses must address smooth transitions, such as allowing exit with notice, requiring supplier transition support, and limiting fees to actual losses, to mitigate the challenges of reclaiming outsourced functions. These provisions balance cost control with operational flexibility while protecting both parties during contract wind-downs. Function-specific contract considerations. While standard contract terms provide baseline protection, each outsourced function requires customized clauses. For example, for outsourcing of a company's IT services is where intellectual property and software escrow arrangements are critical. Engaging specialized legal counsel ensures contracts address unique operational risks while maximizing value, preventing costly disputes through tailored terms like revenue-sharing agreements and continuity safeguards. This strategic investment in legal expertise pays dividends by optimizing contractual outcomes and protecting core business interests. An overview of some critical IT outsourcing contract provisions. IT service contracts must establish clear reliability standards. For example, 99.9% uptime with penalties, and robust disaster recovery plans, less than 1 hour downtime for critical systems, while precisely defining maintenance versus development work to prevent billing conflicts. Technology refresh clauses should mandate regular upgrades with transparent cost allocation, coupled with detailed reporting requirements to ensure operational visibility. These comprehensive provisions create a balanced framework that protects service quality, controls costs, and maintains accountability throughout the outsourcing relationship. IT contract negotiation essentials. Effective agreements combine performance incentives, for example, rewards for uptime or penalties for failures, with future-proof upgrade clauses to accommodate technological evolution. They must also include risk protections like escrow arrangements for supplier stability and disaster recovery terms for business continuity. Together, these provisions create balanced partnerships that maintain innovation, cost control, and system reliability. Part 4. Managing the suppliers. When outsourcing multiple business functions, companies must adjust their organizational structures to maintain effective oversight, establishing dedicated roles like functional coordinators and advisory committees to manage supplier partnerships strategically. The functional coordinator, a senior role, focuses on supplier performance and relationship management, requiring strong leadership and negotiation skills rather than technical expertise, with team size varying by function importance. Proper organizational redesign ensures operational control while optimizing the value of outsourced services. Companies relying on outsourcing should use specialized legal firms for contract-related matters, as they offer broader expertise and in-house teams. A centralized advisory committee, composed of cross-functional experts, helps guide outsourcing decisions, share knowledge, and avoid common pitfalls. Additionally, strong executive sponsorship is vital to overcome internal resistance and ensure smooth outsourcing transitions. Outsourcing different functional areas requires specialized managers with expertise tailored to each domain, ensuring supplier performance meets operational needs. Key roles vary by function, such as technical oversight for IT, industry knowledge for customer service, or engineering expertise for manufacturing, with responsibility matrices aligned to specific requirements. Effective management balances cost, quality, and service levels while addressing the unique demands of each outsource activity. Managing international suppliers requires strategic location choices. Nearshoring minimizes logistical hurdles, while offshore insourcing provides control but needs local oversight. Legal and intellectual property risks can be reduced through proper contracts and security measures, though cultural differences may delay full efficiency. Additional staffing may be needed in low-cost regions to compensate for higher error rates and ensure quality standards. Part 5. Terminating an outsourcing arrangement. Companies must proactively assess when an outsourcing partnership becomes unsustainable, particularly if suppliers consistently fail to meet service levels or improvement goals. Since many contracts end early, advanced termination planning, including clear contractual clauses, is essential to avoid operational disruptions. This section details both legal aspects and functional challenges that may emerge during the termination process. Outsourcing contracts may end for various reasons, including planned short-term transitions, poor supplier performance, or unexpectedly high costs, each requiring different termination approaches and potential transition plans. Clear performance metrics and cost comparisons help make objective termination decisions, while post-termination options include bringing operations back in-house or switching suppliers. To reduce termination risks, companies can use flexible month-to-month agreements, though most outsourcing relationships involve long-term commitments that make early exits difficult. Terminating outsourcing agreements requires careful planning to address common challenges like knowledge transfer, employee transitions, and asset recovery. Contracts should specify the outgoing supplier's obligations for training and documentation transfer, define terms for rehiring former employees and equipment repurchase, and establish fair penalty adjustments for early termination. Proactively addressing these issues in contracts helps minimize disruptions and ensures a smoother transition during outsourcing terminations. Terminating IT outsourcing requires special attention to asset recovery, including negotiating hardware returns and software license transfers while accounting for depreciation and payment disputes. Knowledge transfer is critical. For example, contracts must ensure the return of source code, documentation, and institutional knowledge, like troubleshooting databases, to prevent operational gaps. Additionally, companies should assess in-house capabilities early and proactively seek new suppliers if performance issues arise to maintain continuity during transitions. Terminating IT outsourcing involves varying complexities. Data center transitions require careful handling of technical interdependencies, while managed services may only need system reconfigurations. Key termination safeguards include clear contractual terms for asset returns, predefined depreciation rates, and parallel operations during handovers to maintain service continuity. By anticipating these function-specific challenges in contracts, companies can minimize disruptions and ensure smoother transitions when ending outsourcing arrangements. Thank you for watching this video. We hope it has offered valuable insights into corporate key functions outsourcing. Your feedback is important to us. Please don't hesitate to reach out with any questions or comments.